Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we got episode 145.
45, the second one of year 4.
Yeah, I guess technically this is the second one of year 4. The first one was episode 144, and that was kind of just that was kind of a live chat we did on YouTube that we rolled into a podcast there. So this is technically our second one of year 4, but our first one was just us.
So, Volume 4, number 2, back when people read newspapers and magazines.
You ever listen to Sabbath Volume 4?
No.
Oh, Sabbath Volume 4 is so good. You should go put that on your Spotify.
No, I don't like metal music.
Ask Madam Speaker to play Sabbath Volume 4 right after we're done recording. I'm telling you.
Okay.
You won't regret it.
But, yeah, sure I will.
Just say you will. Yeah.
Okay, I will. Wow, edit later. Gosh, that was so wonderful. I can't. I posted a meme this morning on my Facebook group, but it was someone trying to hold a cat the wrong way, and the cat was screaming. And it's like, if you can't have bagpipes, here's the next best thing. And so I wrote, this isn't any smash in a metal band, but I said, the Song of My People, now available on Pandora and Spotify. Special Yoko Ono mix.
Oh, yeah. I saw the picture of the cat. That was kind of funny. Speaking of Madam Speaker, I just I got the 1 week free of Paramount Plus so I could watch the South Park COVID episodes.
Oh, okay.
And they were okay. They were pretty good. I watched them last night, and they had the madam. I won't say the name out loud because it'll trigger your speaker over there for whatever it is. But they had the
Amazon device in the room.
This is set like 30 or 40 years in the future, and Madam Speaker is actually a virtual reality person that pops in and out of the show.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what they're going to do.
And it's kind of neat. It was just kind of funny that it starts arguing with the guy and swearing at the guy. And it's just like, would you like to hear about our specials today? Okay. That's the only way he can get her to stop yelling at him if he listens to the specials and buys something. So it was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, this is episode 145 of the Digital Dice podcast. We are beginning year 4 of the podcast. Yes, we began this back in 2019, if you can believe it. And our ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com is the website, 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423 is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. That's the best way to get a hold of us is by email. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/digital-to-dice. And if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, we had a few members sign up after our 4th year anniversary show, or 3-year anniversary, whatever it's going to be. We had a couple of new people sign up. We want to thank you so much for supporting the show. With each episode, the storage goes up, and that's the one thing I didn't count on when we started the podcast is going 3 years and then having to store all those episodes there. But overall, it's on patreon.com/digital-to-dice if you'd like to help us out. The $3 a month or $5 a month, whatever you can do is fantastic. We had a couple of one-time donations, too, from people. Thank you so much. That went right to Spreaker and StreamYard to pay those bills so we can just get that paid so we don't have to worry about, losing any of the podcasts. I had a friend that had that they had Spreaker, and they had a ton of episodes on Spreaker, and something come up, and they're like, I can't afford the monthly bill anymore, and they lost all their shows. Seriously, they lost all of it.
You don't want to do that.
And they had a lot more shows than we did, so their bill was quite higher than ours, but I was like, oh, boy. So anyway, so you guys are helping keep the show going and keep the show up, for everybody to hear. And we still hear from time to time people that went back and found us and go back to episode 1 and have been listening to them all, and that's really, really fantastic. And I've done that, too. We talked about that when we did the anniversary show the other day, is I have podcasts that I find, and I go back to episode 1 and start listening to them if I'm really into that thing, Yeah. So that's really good there. All righty. So, let's see.
How did you get a hold of us?
I went through all that.
What?
I just did. I just went through all that.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Seriously, you didn't.
I did the website. I did the text line. I did the email. I did the Facebook. And I did the Patreon.
Really? I'm not kidding around. You haven't done it yet.
I just did that.
No, we thank people for new Patreons and the 3rd anniversary show, but no, you haven't. I'm not kidding.
Are you okay over there? Is the heat getting to you?
No,
I did. I ran through digitaltodice.com. I did the text line, the email, the Facebook, and then I said, if you'd like to support us on Patreon. I went through them all. Patreon was the last one. Do you need another enema? Oh my gosh, you need another enema.
Pause it for a second.
Okay. 5:46. I did it.
No, you really didn't. You really didn't. I'm not kidding. You really, we went right from to thanking people and talking a little bit about that. And
no, I'm telling you, I did ways to get a hold of us, digitaldice.com. I did the text line because I'm reading it right here, and I even read the number out. I did the email, how to get a hold of us.
Wow, no, because we talked about you trying to get me to listen to in the South Park episodes. I'm not kidding. You didn't do it. It's okay. You want to go back and listen for a second?
No. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll do it again. And if I didn't do it, then I'll just cut it out. I'll cut out one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure because Patreon was the last one I did after the Facebook.
I just know we got time about other things. I think you meant to do it, or else I wouldn't have stopped you from doing it. I wouldn't have said anything.
All right, I'll do it, and then I'll splice it in if I have to. All right.
And if it is, then you can yell at me later. But
I will. If I did it, I will edit all this into the Easter egg at the end of the show. And you will get an enema. That's gonna. And I will. All right.
I don't want your wifey driving up here. You come up and give
I'll
me
do a
the
donation
enema.
if I can get the nurse to come in and give you an enema. A nice big one, though. It's got to be a big one. All right, so let's come back in
Let me eat some Taco Bell, and I'll give you a big one.
7:16. All right, here we go.
All right.
All right, ways to get a hold of us. Our website is digitaltodice.com. The text line, 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423. The email, the best way to get a hold of us is digitaltodice@yahoo.com. Over on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/digitaltodice. And we did get 2 new Patreons after doing our third-year anniversary show, beginning of the 4th year. So thank you so much. And we did get a couple of one-time donations, too, and that went right into Spreaker and StreamYard to help pay those bills. So thank you so much to everybody that supported us that way. All righty. Should we get into what we're playing?
Sure.
All righty. So,
you've been showing off a game that's under construction.
By the way, the topic today is summertime blues, by the way. Summertime blues, and it's because I've been in a big sports funk. My funk started early due to the heat, and I know we've been talking about the heat quite a bit here, but it's a big deal. We're in a serious drought, and it's been a long time since we've had a serious drought here on the East Coast. And we got like 5 minutes of rain the other day, and it stopped. It's like, oh, my gosh, that's all we're going to get, you know? So I think what's happened is my house is just so hot, even with the ACs running. My downstairs is just so baked right now that I just haven't had you sit down and you're hot and you stick into your chair. It's like, I don't want to sit here very long and play anything, and I don't want to think about too many things. So I just went to Steam, and I found a couple of really cheap games. One of them was called Dome Keeper, and it's kind of neat is you have this little dome on a surface, and it's just a 2D look, and then you dig below the dome, and you try to find minerals and water and deposits, and you bring it back up to the dome to process it, and then you upgrade your drill speed and how fast you can run, and then at some point you got to use your laser to fight off monsters that are attacking the dome, and then when that's done, you go back down and dig some more. So it's kind of like a time management game. It's like, how far down do I dig? And I got to dig until I find something good, but if I wait too long, the creatures attack my dome. And it's really fun.
Watching you play that, and it reminded me a little bit of Choplifter from about 40 years ago.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
You pretty much had to get rescue the escape prisoners or whatever before you got shot. And that type of similar sprites and graphics.
Right? Yeah, it was a very it kind of Nintendo-ish, almost Commodore 64-ish graphics and sound.
Commodore 64 for sure. Yeah,
it really was, and it's just so fun. I play it with an Xbox 360 joystick, and I just you mine the minerals and you go back up and what do you want to upgrade? Your speed or your drill, or do you want to fortify your dome? So it's just really fun, and right now it's free. It's a free demo. And I've been playing
early access game.
Oh yeah, and but it's ready to go. this is not one of these games like you find all these issues. This is ready to go. This is really fun. So it's called Dome Keeper if you want to play something different than sports. And then I played this massive bullet shooter called Project Lazarus, and you're in a mech. Okay, and you can buy different mechs to do different things. And you just get dropped onto this planet, and all these bugs start coming at you. And, of course, it starts off easy, and then it gets progressively harder. And you can upgrade your mech. And what's neat is that at the end of the round, you gain so much currency, let's say. And then you can upgrade all the different things. So you can upgrade your primary gun, your secondary gun, the health of your mech. And those, when you get into the next game... So when you buy something in the game, because after each round it stops and you can buy something. So let's just say you upgrade your flamethrower to level 3. When you buy the flamethrower, it starts at level 3. So that's what's great about that game. Is every time you go in, you start basic, but as soon as you buy something, it's already leveled up. And so nice. then you don't have to go through the grind again. As the game really picks up pace. And it gets completely nuts. If anybody's ever played Diablo 3, when you get on the battlefield and you're just surrounded in all directions, that's what this is. It's nuts. And you got flamethrowers and machine guns and shotguns and things. All the screen is just going nuts. And you end up killing 5,000 or 10,000 bugs in this game.
Whoa!
Yeah, and you get little ones and big ones, and you try to survive till the end. And it's so addicting. It really is.
$1 or $2 Steam games.
$2.99.
$2.99.
Yeah, and I heard it was on sale for less than $2, and I'm like, man, I'd pay $20 for this. This is how good that game is. So it's called Project Lazarus, and it's so easy. You could use a keyboard if you want, but I just have the joystick, and you don't shoot. You just move it around. All the shooting's automatic. It's kind of neat. So you're not constantly pressing the button.
So you're just trying to avoid the noid.
Yeah, so you're just shooting them and mowing them down, and sometimes you're trying to skirt around them because they surround you, and sometimes you get to blow a path through them and the whole bit, and if they hit you, you take damage, so you got to try to avoid that. But the bugs get bigger and bigger and hotter, and but then you get more rewards too, and it's really, really an addicting game. It's really fun. It's just a casual game, so it's called Project Lazarus. It was $2.99 on Steam. So yeah, I still got my hockey bone set up in Studio A, but I just been playing these little Steam games. I found somebody on YouTube that was playing some fun games, and he's been playing these. I go, man, this guy's channel is perfect for me. It's all these free games and $2.99 games that it's just a time killers at the end of the night when you just don't want to think about too much,
So that's the organist you're paying to keep the crowd entertained on that table is getting tired.
yeah, I know. They've been sitting there tapping their sticks on the ice for about a week now. Now, as far as
remember the episode of The Simpsons where they're in church and Bart changes the music on the organ?
No.
So whatever the hymns were for Reverend Lovejoy, they found the sheet music for Inagata Kavita. And the old woman playing the organ does the entire, 17 minutes later, before it became a SpongeBob thing. And someone at the end of the little bit, her hair, the last bit of her hair is askew and she's exhausted. And somebody from the congregation pulls out a lighter and waves it back and forth.
Oh, that's funny. The only sports game I've really been playing is
tell us about Uptempo Basketball.
Yeah, it's a brand new game by Brian Haferkamp, I think is his name, and he's been posting on Sports Simulations group. I got to get him over on Digital Dice to post his stuff over there as well. But he had an unnamed basketball game, and he's been putting it out, and people have been trying it out. And I said, what's this game all about? So I tried it. Oh, my gosh, it is so fun. It is the shootout hockey of basketball. It really is. It's so easy to play. It's a possession-by-possession game where you roll the dice and figure out if you're going to get if it's an automatic field goal, or if it's a foul and you're taking foul shots, or if you got to attempt a field goal. And there's 6 or 7 and maybe 8 different things that you can roll to get a turnover and things like that. And it's just so fun because you have a basic mode where you use the team averages to take your shots and free throws and stuff like that. And then there's the advanced mode where he actually has he had 5 players originally. And so the starting 5, and you would roll to see, if it was Bird or Parrish or McHale taking the shot. Right. And I said, this is great, but I says, you're only using 5. I says, could you, add guys from the bench? So we did. So we added 5 more guys to each team. So each team has 10 guys now. And you roll to see who takes the shot. And in the advanced mode, even on an automatic basket, because there's automatic baskets and then there's shot you need to take. And even on the automatic baskets, you can roll to see who got it. And I was playing a Celtics game the other night against the Hawks, the dreaded Hawks, who led the entire way. And Jerry Sheesting hit a huge bucket with like 2 minutes left. It's like, what is he doing on the court with 2 minutes left? But as we talked about storylines, something may have happened. Someone's in foul trouble. Somebody fouled out. Somebody twisted an ankle, and he's in there late. And he hit a key bucket for Boston in that game. And then actually, the Celtics were down by, I want to say they were down by 4 or 5 with one possession left, and the only way they could win is if they went on a roll, okay? And 1, 2, and 3 was a roll, and I rolled a 3, and they got I think it was called a roll. I think
a run.
And they went on a 9-2 run to end the game, and they beat the Hawks on that last run. That's the only way they could have won. I think they were down by 3, so if they got a 3-point shot, that might have done it too. But I think Atlanta still would have had one possession. But anyway, those last 2 minutes of up-tempo basketball were absolutely nuts. It was absolutely so much fun, and it's real easy to play. I think that's why I like it, is that I read the directions, and right away I knew what I was playing. Yep. It was that simple. You roll 2 dice, 1 to 100. I roll 3 because on some of the percentages, it's kind of like 57.2. For a field goal try.
Die, essentially.
So he said you could round up or down. I tend to roll that third die for the tenths. So if I need 53.2, I'm rolling 3 dice, so I can potentially get 53.1 or 53.3. Instead of just a 53. That's just how I do it. And but it's really fun because you can factor in your team's offensive stats and defensive stats. So, again, the basic mode is just, the team's got a 52% chance of hitting the shot. The other team's defense is -2. So, 52 minus 2 is 50%, and that's it. Or you can go to individuals. You can see who's taking the shot, look at their percentage, find out who's guarding them on defense, and either add or subtract the defensive rating from that player to give you a final percentage to roll the dice for 2. It's just fun enough that it's not too much work, And I think it's going to take you probably 30 to 40 minutes to play a game if you want to keep points. He was talking about doing assists and rebounds. He put it in, then he took it out. So I don't know if he's going to keep that in or not. Probably not.
It's a lot to do, especially post after.
Yeah, because if you want to play a possession-by-possession basketball game, that's going to take a long time. So he talked about, look, I'll give you the points, but I don't know if I really want to get into all these assists. I suppose you could homebrew things if you wanted to.
He's doing 86, 87. I know on the Delphi forums he was asking what 80 season people would want to play.
Right.
And curious to see the answers to that. So I bet that's kind of a later 80 season. Detroit Pistons seem to be real popular in the Delphi forums, the bad boys. But right now this game is free. The demo is free. It's a long link. Okay, so the best thing to do is head to Digital Dice on Facebook and look for my YouTube video. Go right to my YouTube channel, Dave Gardner Videos on YouTube, and look for the up-tempo basketball, because I do put the link in the description there. So instead of it's a pretty long thing he's using for a website with whatever. So it's one of those GitHub sites.
I forget what it is, but the link will click you right there. So I'm not going to read it here on the show. So just go to my my YouTube page and look at that, and then you'll be able to find that game and give it a shot. Print out. I think he had some modern teams too from last year, but I think the ones he's really working was at 86, 87 with Dallas, LA, Atlanta, and Boston. So I've been playing Boston and Atlanta, and I played a couple games so far. So much fun. It really is. It's a very simple game. It's possession by possession. You get to watch it all play out. You can play basic. You can play advanced. I mean, it's very flexible on all how that goes. So yeah, very. And I think he settled on up-tempo basketball. He was asking for name suggestions, and because it plays kind of quickly, everyone was given the faster name, so he went with up-tempo basketball. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. I think I might have squeaked in a Spiders game on the channel the other night just for fun there, but aside from that, haven't done much of the sports. I got the summertime blues going here in this heat, and we'll get to that in the show topic. So what have you been playing?
Let's see. Primarily, I've been looking at the Digital Diamond version 10 baseball, and they came out with a board game companion. Now, you've done a little bit of this. You can manually input stats and Stratomatic Baseball and PC Replay Baseball if you own the season. And so you could use, if you want to play APA and keep track of it in Strat for any given season that you own, you can do that, or PC Replay or that, and any game engine. I had started to toy around with doing just stuff on Excel. Remember when we had Mr. Tebow on, and he was talking about some of his steroid league replays, and I kind of like that idea. And so I was starting to do it by hand, and then you get to a couple other things, and I couldn't quite get things to balance out. Then you got to sit back and figure error and all that. So I'd seen that there had been the board game companion release for Digital Diamond version 10, which is essentially the same thing. We'll supply the season, and you supply the game. And so I really need to do a video on why I play roster card baseball. That is probably as close to a game. It's a Greg Sovon design. He's also did Fall Classic Baseball and Play Ball and Ball Holla and a couple others. I mean, he really likes to design those baseball games. If I were to design a baseball game, roster card would be pretty close to what I would have come up with. It is the simplicity of APA. But you know when it's a 2D10 roll. And so you know immediately where to look on the card. And the worst is going to be an either or. So you do a check. So let's say you roll a 25 for somebody. Well, for a modern hitter, that might be a strikeout because we do a lot of strikeouts. Or for Wade Boggs, it still might be a single or a walk. And so it's going to be an either-or situation. And pitchers are rated in 3 different categories, and you can make that game complex. I like to play the easy bake oven version of it, just straight off the cards and no adjustments, and it does what I want it to do. And trying with we've talked about, I think, ball stat and ball score, and I think we've talked about iScore, I think, with you before. Maybe not on the air, but it's, those are the ways that you would score a game. And sadly, the person that came up with ball stat and ball score died a few years ago, and the family's wish was the project was finished, that there would be no updates to it. Again, very versatile program. It was designed for, if you sat there at your kid's Little League game and brought your laptop, you could keep score. And for tabletop players, you could do that too. Import rosters in and do everything that you want with that. So this kind of takes that idea. So you're buying a game. Digital Diamond is a full-fledged baseball sim. It kind of mashes together a batter's card and a pitcher's card, and for the game, you roll 3d10, and whatever the numbers are is what the roll is, and so pretty clever design.
Now the digital diamond, right? That's what you're
Digital
playing?
Diamond, yes.
And that's the one that you can put in the stats. Now, is that a separate download, or is that just part of the game now?
No, it's all part of the one game.
Okay.
So it's all one thing, and so there's a couple settings you change to manually import the results, and the creator of the game has come up with, essentially, it's a 4-page PDF with all these commands.
Okay.
So if you hit a ground ball to short and there's nobody on and you're just throwing to first, it's G63. It doesn't get much easier than that. And so the game is keeping score, doing all the bookkeeping for you, keeping the stats. I posted a video about the stats that it kept. It works really well.
Okay.
It's not the fastest flying game in the world, but it does it really well. And you can, because it is a game within a game, it'll kind of do pitcher fatigue for you. So if your pitcher's getting tired, you can take their advice and pull it. But it's whatever you want to do, your game, your rules. And it doesn't force you to play the game.
Did you ever get into a rundown? And it was something like a 3, 6, 5, 1, 2, 4, 3 out. Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious.
If you get that, I hope there's a pizza in 25 minutes at the other end of that phone call. So no, I haven't. I don't really do rare plays in those games. But yes, I mean, you can get the whole mix of things, F7R3X, which means that you had to fly out to left and the runner was thrown out trying to score. So it can be, it looks like an algebraic equation at times. It does a great job. It does a great job. It enables me to be able to play a game I really like. If people ask all the time, well, what games do you like? In no particular order for baseball. It's Strat, Action, PC, and Roster Card.
Right.
And so those are the ones that I prefer to play. And this enables me to do Roster Card. I don't need to have anything printed out. I just go from window to window, and it does exactly what I want it to. I'm still trying to struggle to find the right project I want to do, but that's on my end. That's not on the game's end. And so if you're interested in doing something, it really is, it's a keyboard command. And you talk about being able to pick things up. I think I spent 2 minutes with the PDF. He's got a couple videos on his channel. So if you just look up Digital Diamond on YouTube, you can find it. And if you want to quick play the rest of the games, because you've talked about that before. I don't know if we talked about it on the air, but, I want to play A, B, and C and let the computer play the rest. Well, you can do that. So
that's key is doing a long project like that, to be able to play a game and then have the computer sim the other ones there, and you just play the ones you want to do, whether it's a game of the week or it's one team or two teams. That's why I love playing Strat basketball. And Action PC does it too. I mean, there's a lot of games that do that, but I mean, the idea that you can play a cards and dice game and input it in and then say, okay, I don't want to play these other games, just go and sim those. I'm waiting for that for a hockey game. I am so waiting for that for a hockey game.
Outside of Strat PC, but the rules are different in Strat PC hockey than they are for the card and dice game.
But to be able to play a game, cards and dice of my choice, play APA, Hockey Bones, Strat, Hockey Blast, Shootout.
You can do the Calico thing and just do different games.
Just take the stats and put them in, and then let the sim. So I can play along with a secret.
You could do that with this baseball game, and I believe it's all set up to go from 1928 forward, which is incredible.
Yep.
And there is Slybell, who does a lot of work in the Action PC community, has the library set up. I'm not sure it's as played from the start of professional baseball. I'm not sure if he goes back all the way to 1871, but certainly 1876. So theoretically, you could do your spiders. Now, I really don't want the computer to play the rest of my project for me. I have a very specific idea that I'm thinking of, and I only want those games played. The one thing I wish I could change, and if he's watching or not or listening, it would be I want to just eliminate the rest of those games.
Well, could you do that in that game? Can you say, speak it, Dave. Could you say, I want to take the top 8 teams from last year and just play them?
You can do it manually, I think, and come up with a schedule.
Okay, so you could create a new season, drop in 8 teams, and
here's what I was thinking. I didn't realize, of course, it was my senior year of high school, that in '88 there were in the American.
Was it your first or second year of senior high school?
It was your 7th. There you go. It's my sophomore year, I repeated. So my senior year, 88, 89, in the American League East, there were 5 teams within 3 games of first place. And Cleveland was only 10 games out. Baltimore was terrible. They were 25, 30 games out of first place. But the Red Sox, Blue Jays, Tigers, Yankees, and Brewers were all right there. It's something that is completely forgotten about. That's the year that Gibson won Game 1 of the World Series on the homer, and that was the year that Hershiser stunned the Mets. And so everyone kind of remembers the National League side of the coin. That's the year that the Red Sox won 24 straight at home, Morgan Magic. But they only won, I think, 89 or 90 games that year. They weren't anything really to write home about in the grand scheme of things, and they were swept by Oakland in 3 bad games. But yeah, I mean, that would be. So I was thinking that I would do an American League East replay. I forgot, I'd forgotten that Mickey Henderson was still in New York. And so, yeah, it's not, again, Roster Card is a full play game in trying to tab back and forth between the charts, and that takes some time, but it is immersive enough for me, playing any sort of card and dice game, you want to feel like you're a part of it, and it does that. And the game does good bookkeeping. It may not keep every sabermetric stat ever, but keep standings.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So yeah, and so I've been doing that, and bravo to the developer to invite people to buy his game. It's $24.99 on Steam, and play someone else's game.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. If you've into version 10 of something and you've spent all this time developing your game engine and trying to figure out an AI for this, and then you throw it open going, play whatever you want. I have to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. Oh, and Strat does that too. Whereas you can just go and just input the whatever you can play Appa and input it into Strat. If you want to.
That's like mixing Pepsi and Coke together.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you're right. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's great when people do it because you're still playing your game, and and Replay does that too, where you can drop in the baseball or whatever. And I think you can do it with the basketball too in PC Replay. PC Replay basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think you can drop in the stats if you want to do that. But I love it when PC games are that flexible, and by adding that's something like I'd be interested in looking into now because I could sim some games and play some games.
Right, and you're not really going to be caring too much about what engine the game is played in.
Right.
It's much more about that. And again, Strat wants you to play cards and dice Strat on the PC Strat. That's enabled, and I'm sure that's what Pete Ventura would want with the Replay. But I mean, this is quite bring your own engine, and we'll accommodate it.
Yeah.
In fact, on the last page of the PDF with the commands, there are specific commands for Strat and for pocket pennant run or payoff pitch.
Okay.
So he's willing to do that for other game engines.
Oh, great!
Openly, and I think that's fantastic. So no, it's not a separate download. You buy the game, you can play the game. Game's good.
Okay. Or
bring your own game. And let's see, in 85 Replay is past Labor Day. We're now into September, and the Blue Jays are looking mighty fine.
Oh, good.
And your Dodger playoff tickets are available at 1-800 not Ticketmaster. That's 1-800 not Ticketmaster. $75 fees apply. Bring your own Dodger Talks.
Will you pay with Master Charge?
Oh, I'm so old. It's even the Bank Americard.
Oh, wow.
Master Charge or Bank Americard.
I worked
Diners Club.
I worked at a shop back in the mid 90s, right? And I was taking somebody's credit card over the phone for an order, and they were one number short. And I was like, because how it's always like 4 sets of 4 for a credit card, then the expiration date. I was like, we're missing one number. He says, no, you're not. That's how old this card is. I was just like, he goes, it'll run. So it went through, but I was like, he only had 15 digits instead of 16.
Wow.
And it worked. He was like, okay.
Okay.
It worked. It went through, but yeah.
That's wild.
It's an older code, but it checks out.
I still take door number 3, Monty.
All righty. So do you want to get to what you're playing now?
Apply to be a co-host for the show at DaveGardner'sHaircuts.com.
Should we get to the main topic?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. All righty. So summertime blues is our topic today. And it kind of goes along with everything we've been talking about over the last few weeks as far as, I was keeping an eye on my summertime blues, which usually comes in late August when the house is just hot. It's been baking all summer. And it's just too hot to play. You're sticking the chairs. You got fans going. You're not cooling down. Or maybe you're on vacation. Or maybe you're sitting out by the pool. Or, you're doing whatever. But it's just, you don't do as much playing sometimes. Some people do, some people don't. I find myself... And I kept talking about it. It's like, this year I'm going to really focus on why I go through my 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks I don't play anything. And it kind of started early this year with the heat. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe the whole thing is just when the summer just gets so hot, and the end of the summer, you know, it's just too hot to play.
You play a lot of hockey, which is a wintertime sport.
Mm-hmm.
You're working hockey. I mean, that's your vocation is hockey. And you play and you work out and you get overheated. And as you said, you come down to a place that doesn't have a lot of ventilation, as most basements don't, and you're baking. Mm-hmm. And the last thing you want to do is pull. I do something similar with cards and dice games. Is how much effort what time is it? How much effort do I want to do to set this up? Once I get started, I'm fine. But it's like, oh, I gotta set this up. And, oh, it's 8:30 and I'm tired, or oh, it's 80,000 degrees in here, and the last thing I want to do is that I'll just watch something on YouTube.
Right.
So I think we do that.
I've been doing a lot of that. I've been, coming home from work just kind of hot, or even during the day. The wife comes home, we have dinner. It's like I get downstairs. It's like, man, even with all the fans on, it's just it's hot enough down here that you just get a little lethargic and you just don't want to think about anything. So I go back upstairs where we have the AC going, and I'll watch a TV show or something on YouTube. And that's how I found some of these games on Steam. Was just clicking around on YouTube, and so I've been watching a lot of YouTube, different things. We have our we like to watch the people that eat all the food. That's our thing there. Yeah, there's that. But then I like to learn about games, and then obviously I watch people in the community and see what's going on with them and the whole bit. Yeah, but I just find that I haven't done much playing at all, and so we're kind of wondering, like I said, why don't we play? And let's throw this out to the audience there. Do you get a summertime blues? I mean, do you go on vacation? I mean, I know some people take their cards on vacation, and that's awesome. To go away and keep playing down by the lake, or if you're out by a pool. But summertime, maybe more so in certain parts of the country. Some parts of the country where the weather's the same all the time, so summer, winter, fall, kind of not that big of a deal.
If you're in the South, this is what summers are, and they're just not that way here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I also think, as a baseball fan, that you're used to this type of weather to play baseball games, because baseball is the boys' summer, and so you may not be as interested in doing as much when it's 95 degrees out. But again, if you are listening on the radio or on your favorite device or watching, they're playing it. And so you're kind of used to it. I just kind of wonder, because you're more of a fall and winter sport aficionado, that it's just not that time again. I kind of wonder now, with football season right around the corner, whether when you're going to feel like pulling up.
I already have. I'm already thinking about pulling out second season.
Right, and so I think some of it has to do with that. Is that you seem to be it's the furthest away from. I mean, it's a sport on ice. No one's thinking about ice when it's 95 degrees.
Right.
Even the old ice volleys is going, no, the elephant's going to have the ice there. But yeah, I think there's. You had mentioned before, vacation time. How much of it do you want to pack? Especially if you're still young and have children. It's like, what's Dad doing? I pulled out the APA cards again.
Yeah, no, come build us a fort out in the backyard.
Right.
So we could run through the sprinkler.
Or that. Or if coming off of COVID and you haven't been anywhere in 2 or 3 years, you didn't get the chance maybe to go someplace in 19 for whatever reason. Nope, everything's on the side burner. I really want to spend time and roughing it.
Sometimes in general, at least up here, are very different.
They're slower.
Because we got a lot of guys that take time off from hockey and they travel. They play and they miss 2 or 3 weeks in a row because they're away, or they just want to sit out on the deck, or maybe they were up too much the night before or something like that. So there's all these reasons why people don't play this time of year around here. But for me, I think it was just the heat and the doldrums, and I know you had some heat up there too, right? You didn't play.
Oh my goodness! We're gonna have some heat next week too. I have a portable air conditioner. I don't know what he's trying to kill there on the floor. I have a portable air conditioner, and It only does so well. I mean, the first day of a heat wave, Dave, it's not too bad. It's 78, 79.
It's day 3 or 4 when you've been baking in it.
It's day 2, and because I live in a brick building and get the morning, I face east, so we get the morning sun. And yeah, I wouldn't be baking lasagna or cookies in my window, but by the third day, and you're looking at the thermostat and it says 80. Yeah, you can, I play things with the lights off, the fan on the turbo hurricane setting, and that portable AC just working as hard as it can.
Yeah.
And again, you're not inclined to stream because you get to have stuff on and all that. But no, it kind of you get overheated and your patience goes down, and you
get frustrated a little quicker. You're all so you play a game and something comes up, or just. And sometimes I just look at the table. It's like, do I really want to pull the chair over and turn on the light and start rolling dice right now, or do I just want to sit in front of the TV and just watch TV?
Right.
And that's kind of what it is. I mean, it was so hot this week. I think the heat finally broke on Tuesday for us, but Monday was still kind of hot. It was 10 in the morning, and the dog's looking at me and is like, all right, let's see if we can take you for a quick walk. So maybe 10:30. And it was still only in the mid-80s. And so I took him up the end of the street, and we usually go about a mile and a half, and the end of the street's only like a quarter mile. And he stopped, and he looked at me, and he was just panting. And I was like, all right, you want to go home? And we turned around, he wouldn't move. Wouldn't move. I'm like, okay, you're okay? And so I picked him up. He never lets me pick him up.
He's a big boy.
I picked him up. He's like 30 pounds. And I had to carry him home because I would put him down, and he wouldn't walk. He was done.
Yeah.
It was that hot for him. And I'm like, gee, I didn't think it was that bad, but maybe it was. And I checked the ground to make sure it wasn't too hot on his paws. It wasn't hot on his paws. It just was oppressively hot. And I carried him all the way home, and I put him on the couch and put him in front of the AC and the fan, and he's fine. And we went out again a couple of days later when it cooled down. But I was like, holy cow, if he doesn't want to go for a walk, it is hot. And so, yeah, and there's been a few other people that said they've had some pretty hot weather where they are, and and some people soldier through it. Some people are just in the routine of playing the games and the whole bit. When it's real hot, I get out of my gaming routine really fast when it's hot.
And I think it is because you do a lot of card and dice gaming, and that involves the setup and the extra thought as opposed to just, I got it right here. I haven't played this project in a while. Let's just go. I know that my wife and I try to get out early in the morning before it gets hot and try to be home for the day. Well, I'm home for the day, normally by 10:30 before it gets too roasting. But sometimes, we go to the coffee shop and at 9:15 in the morning, and you hit that outside, and it's just a wall it's a wet blanket, essentially.
Yeah, you open the door, you get hit in the face with it, and it's just, and I tend to, when it's really hot in the summer, I just get lazy. I just do.
I think we all do to a degree.
I get work that I need to do and emails that I need to respond to, and it's like I look at them, it's like I just don't feel like dealing with it right now.
And the other thing is for me is that sometimes my pet cat really doesn't feel the heat all that much because she's wearing a jacket all the time with her fur, and then she'll lay on me.
Oh yeah, yep.
And so I've got this cute little 12-pound fur ball laying on my tushy.
Yeah.
And she won't move. And so, So, no, I get it. I think simplify things, certainly, for whether you're going on vacation. And really, do you want to bring your expensive set of cards down to the lake and then lose them?
Yeah. I think the other thing is, too, is just to get togethers when it's nice around here. Like I said, we don't get a ton of nice weather around here. And all of a sudden, there's a Saturday night that I was going to play something and stream something, and you get a text message, hey, having a cookout, stop by. So, I'll go sit outside on a nice 80-degree night rather than going to my hot basement.
Have a beverage and a burger? Absolutely.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of that. We've had some people come over and gone out to dinner. So we tend to get all of our socializing in, between June and September for the most part,
Yeah, because for about 9 months out of the year, although there's nothing wrong with fall in New England, you're more inclined to be indoors. And so
the nights get cold. The spring nights and the fall nights tend to get cold.
But there really is only about, during school vacation times, it really is about 12 to 16 weeks where you could really do what you want outside.
Yeah. Yep. But it's funny, as a kid, we'd be out all day in it. We'd be playing baseball. I mean, we played baseball every day as a kid, back in, the 70s and early 80s. And now you go outside now. It's like, how did we ever go outside and play all these games as a kid?
Drink out of a warm hose, too.
Oh, my gosh. Every day. Yeah, they had the bubbler at the park, and that was warm water, and it tastes like rust. And it's like, we just couldn't get enough of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so between heat, vacations, hanging out, things like that, just the laziness of the summertime there. I find in the winter times I'm playing a ton, and I'm playing a lot.
It gets dark early here. I mean,
that's the other thing too. Is there's a couple times a week that I leave for the rink at 8:45 at night. I go to work for 9:30, so I got to leave. And I'm sitting down here one night, and I might have already said this on the show, and I was playing a game down here on the computer. It's like, oh man, I got to go to work tonight. And I look out back, I'm like, who put the spotlight on? Like, she's in bed, I'm downstairs. I go, why do we have the light on out back? I said, there's no need to spend electricity with that light on, right? And I go up the stairs and I look, and it wasn't in the spotlight.
It's Mother's Nature spotlight.
It was sunny out. It was still sunny at 8:45. And I was like, I forgot we're in mid-June and the sun stays out till 9 o'clock at night. I completely forgot it. So I'm going to work at 8:45 at night, and it's still sunny out. But yeah, when it gets dark, especially in December when it's dark at 4:45. Tell you, when I worked some of my retail jobs, that used to suck. I'd be sitting there like 4:30 looking out going, oh my gosh, it's completely dark out, and I still got another hour of work to go, and I got to drive home in the dark. But when it's dark out at night, everyone tends to button up a little bit earlier, and then you get a ton of gaming in at that point.
And the flip side of that for me is, because we live in a snowy part of the world, is that I can't get out a lot in the wintertime. Because of that, because of the weather. And so there's going to be a stretch every winter where over a 3-week period I might leave the house once.
You need to put some snow tires on that wheelchair.
Yeah, that's great on the ice.
Put the little studs in there, little metal studs in there. You'd be flying down Church Street.
Yeah, there you go. Or it's 10 below zero.
Oh, yeah.
The combination of that. And so, I get my sort of blues there because, okay, you have all the time in the world to do this because you can't go anywhere. And then you just kind of get sick of it because you can't go anywhere. Mm. And so, yes. So I kind of go through some of this in January and February when they're like, okay, this is day 16 and they haven't cleaned the sidewalk and there's 6 more inches of snow coming.
The only time that happens to me is when we get a ton of snow. If I'm out shoveling and snow blowing, that's exhausting. And
sure.
We get those blizzards, and you got to go out 2 or 3 times a day, and then I come in and like, man, I'm exhausted. I'm just I can't play anything right now. It's just put on the TV or put on the radio and fall asleep, and just so tired. But in the wintertime, yeah, that's the only time that I don't do much gaming is just when I'm exhausted from the snow removal.
Right, right. No, I hear you with that. But yeah, there's a lot of variety of things. And again, I think one of the points that needs to be made clear is that all the projects run on your own timetable. There is never, ever, ever a deadline for when something should be done. So if you get the summertime blues or vacations and you miss the stuff, it's not going to be there when you get back.
Yeah. The only problem I have is I'm a very
you get impatient.
Well, no. It's I have my routines, and
right.
Like I just took a week off from work because it was so hot. We didn't play hockey for a week, and then we had July 4th and the whole bit. And I get out of my routine. So I mean, if I'm working every day and I got my routine down, I know my gaming times. You know what I mean? I know that I can game in the morning on Tuesday. But Tuesday night I can't because I'm working, and Wednesday I know I got to work most of Wednesday, but Wednesday night I can game, and so I know my times because I have a really crazy work schedule that when I can game and when I can't. And when I take time off, whether it's just holidays or vacations or whether it's the heat or the snow, when I lose that, I'm all out. I'm all out of sorts. And so my gaming time, even though nothing's really changed because I've missed work, it throws me for a loop. And it just messes up on when I should be gaming and when I should be working, because it just does. I'm a very routine type of person here, and when I'm out of my routine, even when I work an extra night, like I picked up a Sunday night and I refereed a game, and it just messes me up because Sunday night I'm usually home and I'm gaming, and instead I'm at the rink and I'm working. And I get up in the morning thinking it's Tuesday and it's really Monday, blah, 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 blah. So for me, when I take time off from my routine, it screws up my gaming routine, if that makes any sense. Because gaming is a big part of my life, as it is a lot of us here. But we game when we can, type of thing. That you have to get the work done and you get the family time. So there's things you do first, and you should.
I think that's one of the reasons why I just set up the noon times. Just get on the regular schedule, and so if you don't feel like doing it for yourself, you know that there's someone that wants you to spend that time with them,
right?
And do that, and it's also because it's usually the last few years has been right after the new version of Action PC Baseball's been released. You're just kind of excited to just give you something there, so there's no real doldrums for that. But yeah, when you're playing for yourself, and like, I did that for 4 hours yesterday. Or it's like, it's just too hot. It's just too hot. So yeah.
Like I say, I like my routines. I had when I was doing the Hockey Bones, back in the spring, I would, I knew if I get up in the morning early enough, I could play a period, then get some work done, and then play another period, and then go to work, and then come home from work and finish the game that night. And I was doing a game a day that way, a period at a time. And I would just set up the next game when I was done. It's okay, tomorrow I'll come down and I'll do this all again, and just kind of work in between play in between when I got to work. But then you don't work, and you're like, I got all day to play. And it doesn't work out that way.
Never works out that way.
It just doesn't. I mean, the other day, I'm like, I have the whole day to play games. And I remember telling you, I can't wait to go and either play this new game on Steam or get back to Hockey Bones or something like that. It was 6:30 at night before I sat down and started doing anything fun. I don't know.
I marvel at those that I read about. Oh yeah, or wife's at her sister's. Got the house to myself. Kids are old enough that they're gone for the day. And I played 14 games of X.
Yeah.
And my thinking is, oh, my God, how in the world did you find the brain power to play 14 games of Cards and Dice X to begin with? And that they did it. It took me until I was 50 because, I don't really go anywhere, to finally have it one day, we talked about this on the show, where I played one game from each of the 4 sports.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and that was fun, but that was probably the maximum amount of gaming time I think I've ever spent, like 4 or 5 hours. So I marvel at people who could sit there and go, oh, yeah, I banged out 15 games of X.
It depends on the game. Sometimes I can bang out a couple of games in a day, depending on what it is. Depending if I'm streaming or if I'm just playing for myself. And again, depending what the game is. If it's a longer play game, I tend to take a break after I play a game that takes me an hour and a half or 2 hours. Okay, I need to take a break. It
wasn't a straight run through for me, but I realized at about 8:30 that the only one I hadn't done was football. I had played some sort of baseball and strat hockey and strat basketball, because they're all easy to set up, and I've got replays going, and I realized I haven't played any football, and so I did, but it wasn't in one continuous session. Don't bug me. I've got bird warming up in the corner as soon as Trier's done. It wasn't planned that way. But
I think the only time I play back-to-back games is the quicker play games. Like a shootout hockey, I could play 2 games back to back because they take 20 minutes. If I'm doing a quick play replay, like when I was doing the Spiders or the Seals, and I was just rolling for final score, I can play a couple games back to back like that. But to play like a full-fledged game, an hour plus type of game, I tend to not to play those back to back.
35, 40 minutes is about my limit. I wanted to knock out a couple of the roster card games yesterday, and I got into Twins Yankees, Cleveland and Texas, And Charlie Huff and Tom Candiotti decided not to show up for the game because I'm burning through bullpens. And so I was hoping to be a 20-minute game turned into a 40-minute game. And then I got into the Yankees and the Twins, which was the last American League East opener. Rick Rhoden versus Frank Viola. And Viola was just keeping the Yankees off balance. The same could not be said for Rick Rhoden. And so when you get into something and you played 40 minutes, like, okay, I know what my next game is. Like, no, I think I've used all the brain power I'm going to use for that. And so in this type of weather, or in warmer weather, and you're not used to it, or you don't have the proper, because I know that our friends in the South going, come on, 90?
Right.
We don't have central air in a lot of places up here.
No.
And so just, it's not just like a lot of places down south don't use electric heat and not gas heat because you don't really run the heat all that much. You should be when it's in the mid-30s, and that's considered cold. Well, a mid-30 day in Vermont in January is called a melt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so we have all gas lines under our streets, and so heat is never a problem. But trying to cool is. The building I'm in was opened in 1967. You're familiar with 1967 there, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And was built for World War I veterans. So old men then. It was not designed to be what it's being used for today, which is kind of, senior disabled housing.
Right.
So there's no central air. You are fully dependent on what you buy to cool yourself off with. And there's they really can't do a lot of ventilation because if you had a fire in one of these buildings, you don't want it to spread.
Yeah.
The doors are rated to hold for an hour and so they can get you out. It's all about survival, and you understand that completely. But that means you bake.
Yeah. I think the other thing besides the heat, for me, when I get done a long play game, you're talking a full play basketball, hockey, baseball, or a football game. To me, it's a very emotional experience. And
because we tend to play our teams that mean something to us.
When I'm done a long game, the quick play games, okay, you're in, you're out. You don't dip your toe into the water. But when I play a full play game, whatever it is, APA, Bones, APA baseball, Strat baseball plays pretty quick on the PC, so I wouldn't consider that a very, very long.
Normally, I can do those in a threesome.
Yeah, I can play those back to back pretty quick. But I mean, if I'm on a tabletop and I'm playing a longer game, and we're looking at over an hour for some of these things here, when I'm done, it's so emotional for me sometimes that I get done, and I close the book on it, and I just absorb what happened. And sometimes I'll do a recap on it, sometimes I won't. But it's just like, wow. It's kind of exhausting in itself because you've just been through this. You just felt like you went to a game.
Yes.
And, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever happened in that, a last-second goal, last-second field goal, last-second missed field goal, our Red Sox fan, anything like that, even that basketball game that I played, the up-tempo basketball.
You were I could see you sweating and exhausted after that. You were so thrilled.
It was a crazy game. It was back and forth. Atlanta had a couple of runs they went on. Celtics kept hitting three-pointers to stay in the game. And it took me about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to play that game and streaming it. And I played some in basic and some advanced. But that last 2 minutes, it was just back and forth. The Celtics went on the run with 40 seconds left to win it. About the only roll they could have rolled to stay in that game. And they got it. And it was just what a comeback it was, to beat, the Hawks and Spud Webb and Dominique Wilkins and all those guys. I think Doc Rivers was on that team too, I think.
Yes.
For Atlanta. But holy cow, it was just such an emotional game. When I got done, it was just like, wow. Those last 2 minutes really took its toll on me, and I'm reliving that. The Sheesting shot, the two free throws Spud Webb made that I thought put the game out of reach. Celtics came back and scored, and then, I think it was a turnover or a missed shot by Atlanta that opened the door for the Celtics to get that last run and win the game. It's just like...
You got a history of that. I still think and remember you doing the 79 Red Sox in replay. and the back-to-back streams you had with Freddie Lynn walking it off.
Yeah, the 666 roll and replay PC basketball to hit the home run to win it, and he did that in 2 straight games. And you're exhausted because it's like, holy cow, this game was unbelievable, and I don't really want to start another game right away because it's like eating a nice meal. You're like, wow, I just want to sit and let this settle and enjoy this meal I got before getting on to the next meal because that was so good. It was so good.
You got the steak and the fries were perfect. And
it's like, why do I want to move on to the lobster next? I still want to enjoy the steak and the French fries, like you were saying, but. Yeah, sometimes for me, it's a very emotional thing. Not all the time. Sometimes I play a game and I'm done and that's that. But sometimes things happen good or bad and they exhaust me. And I'm like, wow. And you got to get up, walk around. You got to get a drink. Maybe, take the dog for a walk or something. But you got to clear your head from that game.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah. And I find that if I go back to back with games and the first game kind of means a lot less to me because I played it, now it's out of the way, swipe left, move on to the next game, see ya, thanks for coming by, type of thing. Unless I'm playing a series or something like that, then it's an overall series thing. But even when I played the Summit series, no matter what I played in, I might play, I think was that in Shootout that I did that? Yeah, yes. the unofficial Shootout cards.
To make sure it's the unofficial Shootout cards.
The unofficial Shootout cards, the 72 Summit series.
Canada treated that as an unofficial series in the third period of Game 8.
Yeah, but I don't think I played more than 2 games of that in the same day because they took me half hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 35 minutes to play those things. I was keeping stats and the whole bit. And they were just exhausting games. They were emotional games to me. And so I didn't play back-to-back because... Man, that one game, that was good enough for me. That was plenty. That one game was plenty.
I think what we're kind of saying is that we need time to recharge, whether it's just from life in general and what we've all gone through the last couple of years to go through and go, no, I need a change of pace for something, or no, I don't have the emotional energy right now to sit and process all this and play it right. Because I think that, you and I are at the point where we're just not pulling things out willy-nilly. It means something. It's not life or death by any stretch, but if you're pulling out, going back to the 92, 93 Bruins and playing one of those, you want to be able to savor it, figure it out, enjoy it, immerse yourself in it, whatever adjective you want to use. And you just don't want to start and go, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. Because that's how projects go to die.
Yeah, and I've done that before where I've sat down and like, okay, I got to play this today. I haven't played this in a while. And you play it and you get your hand on your head like this and you're rolling dice and you're just not into it and you're not enjoying it.
It should not be a chore.
And it's like, I'm forcing myself to play this game right now and I don't want to.
In a longer project, such as a multi-team baseball full season thing, you're going to have times where it's just, let's just get on to the next thing and move on from there. And that's just going to happen because just like in any other relationship, after a while, you got to kind of recharge the batteries and that. And so, but, once you get that good game again, you're rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time of year, I think just because, we're older, you're talking about drinking out of the hose and running around all day playing street hockey or baseball at 8, 9, 10 years old. It does, it takes longer as we age to recover.
Yeah. And there's some games, don't get me wrong, there's some games I play that are just kind of your run-of-the-mill humdrum game, didn't get a lot of energy out of it, didn't get a lot of meat on the bone, and I can jump into another game. Okay, that one's done. That one just, win or lose, it just didn't really do anything for me, so I can get in the next, let's get in the next game and see if this game I can emotionally attach to this game, And when I get emotionally attached, we have a game, whether it's a good game or a bad game, whether I'm throwing dice around or I'm doing a dance because I won, that gets pretty emotional. And then, so I don't tend to move on. So I think for me, there's the heat factor, there's the emotional factor, there's just the going outside, touching grass factor, as they say, getting out of the house, getting off the computer and the whole bit. But that is kind of the beauty of cards and dice, though, because you can get off the computer and be unplugged, so to speak, and be playing something. And that's the beauty of that, I think. But yeah, no. So so summertime blues. There's all kinds of ways that and reasons why we don't play. Maybe you guys play more in the summer. Maybe you get time off and you find yourself, the glass of country time lemonade sitting on the porch playing some games. And maybe you play more.
Eating those Pepperidge Farm cookies because Pepperidge Farm remember.
I remember.
But the good thing is that as we're recording this on Friday, the Play.com convention going on in Denver, and the APA just had their big convention and tournament there, and so it's for others it's maybe the time to get together to share that.
Right. Yep, it is. So do you get the summertime blues? We're asking the audience. Do you get the summertime blues? What happens in the summer? Does anything change at all? Is it always the same? Or in the summer, do you play less? Do you play more? And if so, we want to know why. Why do you play less or why do you play more in the summer? Some of the reasons are quite obvious, but there might be some reasons that we didn't touch on today that are a little bit less obvious. And you guys can bring those up to us, and we'd like to discuss them with you. So anyway, should we get to the 3 stars of the week?
Absolutely.
All righty, here we go. So, in no particular order, so episode 145, our 3rd star is Mark Unger.
Woohoo! If you haven't checked out his Thespian series, I believe the first 2 were on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure but they're in the process of doing the 3rd season. I'm not sure where. So Mark is an actor.
Yep, and Thespian is the show. Yep, check that out. All righty. Our number 2 star is DJ John.
Yay!
Yep. And these are some of the new Patreons here making the stars list this week, so congratulations. And number 1 star, again, in no particular order, it's Kentucky Rick.
Yay!
Yeah, Richard Rohring. Hopefully I said that correctly. In the Discord, I put Kentucky Rick is greater than Pickle Rick. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
It is. So thank you so much. Thank to everybody who helps sponsor the show here through Patreon or through our the once-a-year donations where we do our fundraising drive over the summer. Thank you so much. So let's wrap things up, shall we?
Sure.
Yeah, by the numbers, this has been episode 145 of the Digital Dice Podcast. Ways to get a hold of us, digitaldice.com. The text line, 978-751-DICE. digitaldice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. So, yeah, we want to know your summertime blues. Do you get them? Or do you have wintertime blues or falltime blues?
Wintertime blues, because it's dark and you can't get out. But, I think we all go through some sort of seasonal gaming disorder.
Yeah, seasonal gaming something. Yeah, whatever it is. So anyway, so let us know. I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
Until next time, talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.
See,
how do you get a hold of us?
I went through all that.
What?
I just did. I just went through all that.
No, you didn't.